Not yet.
Oop. They don't have their little sponge. Little sponge comes up. Off.
This one's not.
I don't know what it does. The sponge part.
Really quick, right?
6 o'clock, everybody ready? That we will start our Selma City Council special meeting. It's June 1st, 2023. This is the Selma City Council Chambers, 1710 Tucker Street in Selma. The teleconference phone number is 301-715-8592. The webinar ID is 891-6864-5005. When on the phone, if you wish to address council during the public comment portion of the agenda, press *9 to raise your hand and we will select you from the meeting queue. Press *6 to unmute and mute yourself. Would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Garrett,
Here.
Councilmember Trujillo,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cho,
Here.
Mayor Robertson.
Here, potential conflicts of interest. Any council member has a potential conflict of interest may now identify the item and recuse themselves from discussing and voting on the matter. To better accommodate members of the public or inconvenience in the order of presentation, items on the agenda may not be presented or acted on in the order listed. Additions to agenda may be added only pursuant to California Government Code Section 54954.2b. Now we're going to move on to oral communications. At this time, any member of the public may address the city council regarding any item on the special meeting agenda over which the council has jurisdiction. No action or discussion will be taken on any item not on the agenda. Issues raised will be referred to the city manager for review. Members of the public shall limit their remarks to 3 minutes and are asked to direct their comments or questions to the council. Does anyone have anything they'd like to say at this time?
Hello, Parveen Sandhu from 2477 Country Club Lane. Respected members of the council and city manager and city staff, thank you for giving us the opportunity. I represent Second Chance Animal Shelter here located in Selma. We have requested emergency funding on behalf of the shelter. We have been running negative almost every month. And our biggest cost right now is payroll. Currently, we receive $8,163.57 from the city of Selma for the services that we provide. However, our payroll costs are over $20,000 a month. Currently, we have over 150 dogs and a few injured cats at the shelter. And last month, we did receive some wildlife, some ravens and whatnot. But in order to care for those and appropriately vaccinate, provide vet care, and feed those dogs, the cost of each month will cost for May were $29,000 just to run the shelter. And those are our operating costs. Those do not include any overhead costs, which are the responsibility of Second Chance Animal Shelter. Those costs for the month of May was $1,600. We are requesting emergency funding to be able to pay our staff. Paychecks were sent out last Friday. Every single one of those checks are going to bounce because there is no funding. We do have one of our staff members here today who did receive notification that his check bounced. We don't know what to tell our staff. It is very discouraging. And we're very remorseful that we're in this situation where we cannot pay staff and expect them to come to work the next day. These are all members of the city of Selma that will need to pay rent, need to pay their bills, and provide for their families just like we do. The Second Chance Animal Shelter is essential and an essential part of public health and safety for all members of the city of Selma. The police department does rely on us. All members of the community rely on us to protect the dogs, to protect the communities and the citizens. So my request to you is that you provide us that emergency funding. City manager does have those amounts, but we have requested in upwards of $87,000 for the last to cover expenses from the months of February going all the way to end of June. We have asked board members and private citizens for loans. We have exhausted all of those avenues, and for reimbursements. Me personally, I just came back from Costco. I purchased supplies because the shelter was in need of supplies in order to do their duties and care for the animals that are already there. We are bringing in average 60 to 70 dogs every single month. Today is the 1st, so within the next couple of days, you will receive the numbers of what we took in from the city of Selma, probably upwards of 50 to 60 dogs on average.
That's your 3 minutes, Parveen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Evander Tamayo. My grandpa worked for the city for many years. You might know him, Ruben Tamayo. Following in his footsteps, I've always felt a need to help out the community that I was raised in. I'm a big animal lover. I'm an animal control officer at the Second Chance Animal Shelter, and it is become difficult to work there due to the lack of funds. I'm 21 years old. I'm going to school. I have car payment. I have a lot of things that I depend on for a check. In my heart, I want to keep working at the shelter. I like helping the animals. It makes me feel good knowing that I can do something to contribute back to our community and get some dogs off the streets and maybe find them new homes. You know, even working with PD, I've worked with PD before to help contain dogs that might be a harm to people. Currently, this is the 3rd check that I've had that's bounced. It's becoming difficult to stay here. I've started looking for other jobs. And the thing is, I don't want to leave. It's a good job. I enjoy helping the animals and helping the community, but it has become difficult when we're not able to fully give the dogs everything that they need. Sometimes we run out of food, and Parveen has been generous enough to purchase food with her own money for the dogs. There's been times where I had to borrow money as well, and she's helped me out in the situations, and I paid her back because I was not able to get paid from the shelter. You know, I understand that, you know, it might be hard to find the fundings and everything, but I do believe that it is something essential to the city. I get calls all the time, at least 2 to 3 times a week, about this dog's running around and people are scared. People think that it's going to bite someone, or this dog's chasing someone else's dog. If we don't have animal control, if we don't have Second Chance Animal Shelter, we don't have anyone to take care of those dogs that may be a harm to other animals or to the people. It is something that we do need. And I would like to do whatever I can to contribute as much as I've volunteered plenty of time. I've done a lot to help out the shelter as much as I can. But as people, there's only so much that we can do to provide for the shelter without getting help from our fellow citizens, from fellow people from Selma. It's something that I think it's with a little bit of more money and with the care and the amazing staff that we have now, with those people there that are willing to put in as much work and time as they are, and with the help of some extra funds, we can really help out a lot of animals and a lot of people at the shelter. All right, that's all I had to say.
Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Nydia Juarez. I live at 9829 Thompson here in Selma. I'm the vice president for Second Chance Animal Shelter. Been serving on the board for about 2.5 years now. My biggest concern is our employees. We have 10 people on staff right now, and their checks are bouncing. And just like Evander said, it's hard to tell them stay and come back to work when we don't know if we're going to be able to pay them. So it's important for us to get this funding, not only for the staff, but also to keep running the shelter. Like he said, we're essential. You know, we're an essential part of Selma. We provide services for animals, and not only animal control, but we try to network with the community. We try to get these dogs out to foster homes. We try to get them to rescues. We get on average 40 to 60 dogs a month. And on average, we're transporting 40 to 50 of those to rescue. So we're doing our part in getting these animals to better homes. But at the same time, we need that funding to be able to pay our staff and be able to continue to do our mission, because we're here because of the animals. We care so much for the animals. We volunteer our time. Parveen, Parveen and I are constantly at the shelter, just, 7, 8 hours a day sometimes, because if staff calls in sick and we have nobody to cover, we step in. And we don't mind doing it, because if we have the time, we're more than happy to help the staff. But at the same time, we have that turnover because staff's not getting paid. It's a hard job to do. There's a lot of animals to take care of. So if you guys could consider giving us that funding, it would help greatly with our staff and the needs for the shelter. Thank you.
We have anybody on the phone? Like to say anything? Okay, with that, we'll bring the matter back to council and we will recess into closed session. At this time, it will be a conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9B. That's one case, and thank you all for what you're doing for animals and the folks of Selma. Thank you, you too.